Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. And smash that like button right meow. Do pardon if it lags or anything, just getting my screen set up. Of course, I'm live on YouTube, but if you have a Twitch channel, you have a chat room that never closes. And I do have some folks that watch the show but don't have YouTube accounts, and they want to chat along. So I've got this open for them too. I'm not multi-streaming. I'm only live on YouTube right now, but just in case. Oh, let's make the chat room a little bit bigger. I just need to see myself up in the corner there, and then the rest of you guys. Am I straight up here? I'm a little bit. It kind of threw me off. I set up the camera and just plopped it down. Got this hanging. I actually have to take a walking stick and stick it underneath there, and then I've got safety, or not safety pins, but clothespins to sort of pull the fabric down behind it so it stays like that, just so you can't see any of the white walls behind me or anything. But I set that up, I plopped the camera down, turned it on, and the shot was just perfect. I didn't have to move it one way or the other, so it's like, oh, okay, awesome, I'm getting good at this. Oh, what's up, Arden? Glad you made it. She says hi. I haven't been here in a while. That's okay, we kept your seat dry. That's alright. Now, last week I did a balcony chat, so there would have been no dark shadows at all, hardly any, so you didn't miss anything. I'm sort of excited. We're getting to the end of the beginning, just before episode 210, so I was, as much as I wanted to try to squeeze maybe about 15 episodes into 2 shows, I don't know if it's going to quite work out like that. I don't know if it's best to, say have one episode start up and we're starting with my favorite actor. I don't know if I should be starting up with the review that's episode 210. I'm just going to do them as I go. If it plays out that way, it plays out that way, great. If not, I am covering all of the episodes. It kind of doesn't matter where I'm at with them, as long as I'm doing them. Lisa Gray, what's up? Said, I'm popping in for a few minutes. Just finished watching a snow go race and have to head to the ice rink soon for a state championship. Oh, her son is the reigning hat trick king. Whoa! Yeah, for hockey, nifty. Like with real hats, or is that like a move with the stick? All I know about hockey is that they fight, so that's why I would watch it. There's actually a watch still game at one point. Jack and Victor go to a hockey game. I don't want to ruin the joke for you if you've never seen that show, and most people haven't outside of Scotland, but it's one of my favorite bits of the show. Check it out. Oh, Lisa Gray, 3 shots in a row. Nice. That's intense, because I can barely walk. Like, just my balance is not good. So to see people, like, roller skating, rollerblading, on fucking ice, on a literal blade, on the ice, 2 of them, and not just immediately falling over, it just blows my mind. It's like watching a space alien walk around, like, oh. It's like skateboarding totally trips me out. That is so cool. And they just do that over there. That's just natural up in Alaska. Everybody just knows how to skate. It would be good to know how to skate out here back in the winter of 2012, 2013, when we had a blizzard every single week for months on end. It killed my favorite boots. All I was doing was going to work and going home. I got cabin fever, which, oh my god, it was so terrible. And then they had the nerve to come up with a movie called Frozen. Like, really? Really? It's not cold enough? Really? So that's when that happened, to put it in perspective. I do want to say at the top of the show, keep Tony Black in your thoughts. It's just that Frank was saying that Tony had we were just sort of mentioning, like, oh, like a bad knee is so fucked up to have. And then Frank mentions that Tony Black fell, broke his kneecap, so he's just, has not been able to walk for however long that's been. And then the house that he lives in, it's built in such a way that the only bathroom is on the second floor. Like, nobody on the first floor needs to relieve themselves, but so it's hard for him to get around his house. The dude is 95 years old, and I know this from personal experience, but it's worse when you're older. If you're not moving around a lot, you're going to get achy. So, and it's not good for somebody that age to be so incapacitated, and it's like he's getting moved from these. It's not like a hospice or anything, but just these care facilities. It's like they stick you in one for a minute, and then the money runs out, so they gotta stick you in another one. And of course, they don't wait. They don't do anything. They wait until you're really bad off to even help you with anything. So there's that just going on. So just keep him in your thoughts. He's a cool guy. He's a Gemini. Good looking guy for his age too. Frank's his mom is friends with Tony Black, so she's got this video of him, and he's talking about how they do these physical therapy type of stuff. You would never guess the man's 95. Like, he's still got hair. He's still like talking. He's still like his mind is still together. He's not doesn't have dementia or nothing that younger folks seem to have. Folks in their 70s and 85 are all out of whack, but this dude's almost 100 and he's got it all together. So Lisa Gray, yeah, prayers for Tony. Yeah, definitely keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. He's a cool guy. Oh, and a happy Pi Day. It's in real life, it's March 14th. So that PI, like 3.14 and all the rest of it. So check out your local pizza place. They might be having a deal for you today. Sort of would rather have pecan pie or blueberry pie, but that's what does any pie not pie. Do pizza places do that? Specialize in pizza pie and regular pie? I know they have desserts, but it's rarely pie. They should. Nobody's done that before. They should think about that. Uh, let's see here. YouTube seems to have done an update where when you want to go to your history, they got it on the other side of the screen. I don't like that. But they've had worse updates. Now, let me... Oh, it looks like YouTube's... Yeah, they've done some more updates here. I'm just going to my own channel to look at the recap that I wrote this morning and don't remember. I remember some of it. So if you saw my last episode 2 weeks ago, we ended up with... Well, Laura told Roger that she was going to leave Collinsport without David, without a fight. Even though Roger wanted to cuss her out, tell her to leave, he didn't get the chance to. She's like, I'm just going to go. And the next thing you know, later that night, she's appearing in David's room talking about, I have to take you away. Your dad wants to send you to boarding school. So meet me at the old fishing shack tomorrow night at 11:30. And don't believe anybody if they say I've gone. And we have 1,055 episodes to go. It is flying by. Wow. We're almost at the end. Can you believe the show's been on for almost a year? Not a year in real life at this point, because it started in June and we're up to May now, but almost a year. So the last thing we saw was no one could find David in the house, and Victoria, Burke, and Joe are looking for him. Mrs. Johnson was looking around the house. David is at the fishing shack. Laura shows up. He hands him this lantern that looks too big for a kid to be holding, and it was, and he dropped it, and it breaks, so there's burning oil all over the floor. This place is made out of wood. David wants to get out. Laura's like, no, it's all right. Look into the flames. Like, don't we can't leave. They're out there looking for us. So she's got her son fixated on the spot on the floor. Again, it's wood. It's only going to spread farther. It's like the first time my house caught on fire in Minecraft, but he doesn't have the code to make it rain, so they're just he's being sensible. He wants to leave. Laura's like, no, stay and look at it. Like, okay. And David loves his mom. He really wants to believe. He does believe that she loves him. She's on his side. She wants the best for him. He likes his mom more than his dad, so he wants to do everything that she says. He wants to leave town with her. But this woman just has no love for anybody. It's kind of sad. So we pick up with episode 191. This aired on March 30th, 1967. We're still in day 44. It's nighttime. And we see the fishing shack. It's burning. We see the flames coming up, real fire. They're not superimposing it over the actors or anything. And David and Laura are just standing inside there. Then they re-shot where Victoria starts to communicate with Josette with the edges of the shot getting blurry, and it's like, what? What house by the sea? Like, the fishing shack. So that's come to her again. So Victoria, she's by herself when she's realizing this. She hasn't told anyone yet. But then we're back at the fishing shack, and David just doesn't understand why his mom does not want to run out of this burning building. He's scared, he's confused, he knows the right thing to do is leave. His mom's telling him to stay, so he's just torn. Like, what do I do? Which way do I go? So Laura's just standing back. She's just been back there, just calm this whole time. This is totally cool by her. Telling David, just come into my arms and everything will be all right. David's like, the fire's spreading. It's getting hotter. So Laura, stare into the flames. The fire's your friend. It wants to embrace you. So David listens to his mom. He stares at the fire, and it's just him saying he sees the oranges and blues and reds. So Laura tells him that fire gives life, just as the sun gives life to the earth. David says, I think I understand. So now we're over in the living room. Victoria is still talking to Josette, and she's like, a fire in a little house? But David's there. It's the shack. Josette, don't go! And the screen clears up. Josette's away. Arden says, I think this is one of the first Dark Shadows episodes I watched. Wow, great place to jump in. That's cool. Do you remember how you got into it? Were you channel surfing? Was a friend like, hey, check out this show that there's fire and spooky stuff at a cemetery? And this one lady with great clothes. Speaking of her, now we're in a hospital. This must be the hospital in Boston. Because Carolyn's there and she's watching Liz. She's, lying in bed. She's asleep with her, full makeup done. Well, we haven't seen Liz in forever. Like, oh, that's a mighty fine coma acting. And Carolyn's in a different outfit. We haven't seen this before. It's, she's often in a like a skirt and some kind of top, blazer that matches. But that's a different one. We have not seen this outfit on her. Maybe she did some shopping when she was in town. But that's just when the doctor enters. Dr. Franklin. They like that name. Franklin. But this fella comes in and he's telling Carolyn, well, it's almost midnight. You've been here all day. Yeah, well, Liz's tests show there's no brain damage, so, why don't you go back to your hotel and rest? Carolyn just, in a few. So, like, the whole time, when somebody's unconscious, you want him to wake up, she's staring at her like she's gonna move the whole time. She's waiting for a flinch or a twitch or something. Carolyn's like, yeah, I'll get in a minute. Oh, Lisa Grace says, checking out. I don't know that acronym, GRSY, albeit briefly. Yeah, we'll be here for at least 2 hours. Yeah, good luck to your son. That is awesome. Oh, Arden says a friend down the street was watching and you got hooked. It was the later episodes with Quentin. Had to go back and watch earlier episodes. Started at 210, I think, but backed up episodes to figure stuff out. Yeah, it's really, if you start with 210 and that's all you know, which is fine, and then you go back to watch the beginning, it's people's relationships with each other are like, they get along, but they don't. That's not how. Why? What made things change? And then you've got almost 200 episodes for that to play out. It really does help out. I don't want to say like gatekeep the show or anything. It's okay if you've only seen 210 and the rest of it. That's totally fine. That's the way I did it. I kind of didn't see a need to watch the beginning, and then I realized the actor that I liked started before episode 210, and then I realized his character was on before that even. So I watched it like that in reverse, and then I finally decided, like, let me just watch the whole thing. I had it on Tubi. It's free. You can watch it on Tubi right now. Link in the description for the channel and the show. And then when I bought as soon as I blew through it in about 4 months, I consciously made an effort to slow down and just bought the DVD box set, which is what I've been watching it on. And yeah, so hard to figure out why these people hated each other. Like, they don't get along. Why? Why is he mad at him? What did they do? What could have possibly happened? And then the best part of watching the beginning is the fact that I've mentioned it before. There are a few times when just some off the cuff random lines from characters who are not even on the show yet. They say, and yes, they're just lines, but if you've seen the beginning, it turns them into jokes. So it's nothing it doesn't ruin the show if you haven't seen it, but it makes it better if you have seen everything. And then you don't have to worry about any spoilers, that too. If I wanted to engage in any kind of Dark Shadows content online, I had to watch the whole show first to avoid spoilers, so that's what I did. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. It's only 209 episodes for a show that's got 1,245. 200 is a drop in the bucket. They go by so fast if you're not taking notes. Your friend's awesome, Arden. So as soon as the doctor steps out, I honestly gasp because Liz opens her eyes. So she's awake. She's just looking around at the room, really not turning her head too much. Last thing she knew, she was in Collinwood. What the hell is this place? So she's probably freaking out a little bit. But Carolyn sees that, so she calls the doctor back in. He's shining the light in her eyes. They respond to light. She's able to like raise her arm, and like remember before she was just like super stiff when they lifted her arm up. Now she can like move her hands and do all this kind of stuff. So she can move. The doctor listens to her heart, like her pulse is increasing, like heartbeat is strong. She moves around a little bit, like she's squirming as she's lying down there, like she's not comfortable or just something's bothering her. But she looks scared, and Carolyn points it out. Like she looks like she's afraid of something. Like something she's just seeing in her head has her so scared. She's really not noticing the room that she's in right now. So back at the fishing shack, Laura is saying that she says it's almost time for the flames to surround us so we can be together forever. Are you afraid of death? Laura's creepy as hell in this episode. David says, I don't know. So Laura asks David to say the legend of the Phoenix because death will give them eternal life. David says, it's hot. Will we leave soon? Just then there's pounding on the door. It's Victoria out there. She's yelling for David. She's screaming. There's a window right there, so she just has to step to the side. She can look inside there. And she can see the back of David. She can see Laura just fine. There's those flames right in between them. And she's just screaming at David, screaming his name, pounding on the door. The same way anyone would be if they saw somebody stuck inside of a burning building. Laura's not paying any attention to her. She says, we're here to burn in a few minutes. Victoria's screaming at her through the window. She said, Mrs. Collins, you can't do this. Laura says, I'm not Laura Collins. I'm Laura Murdoch. Come on, you knew what to expect. And David's not fazed by this because he's staring into the flames and he's reciting the legend of the Phoenix, how it builds its fire and puts its herbs and spices in there and fans the flames one morning. And he's just going through the whole, he's almost speaking robotically. He's not paying attention to anything else right now. He's very much in a trance. And Victoria's still screaming at David, just trying to get him to turn around, look at her, just, distract him some kind of way. Laura says, he can't hear you. David's going to be reborn, as I have. Now go away. So Victoria's still yelling for David, just, it just sounds like she's crying. She's so upset. This is so scary. David's he's just staring down at this fire like nothing else is going on. He's telling that story. And Laura, she's really just trying to keep him in the zone. Just like, tell me about the legend, and then we can go. So now we're back in the hospital, and Carolyn is saying, like, oh, she recognizes me. Like, Liz is finally making eye contact with people. But Carolyn tells her, like, you're going to be all right. Look, she's trying to talk. And at first she's just kind of mumbling a little bit, Liz is. Nothing's really coming out. But then she yells, she's like, David! And she sits up. It's David. Fire! So Laura really must be losing her grip on Liz if she's able to come out of her trance and speak. So she just has all of her power focused on David right now. Any other iron she had in the fire, don't mind the pun, are getting cold. Well, we're back at the fishing shack now, and Victoria's still screaming at David through the window, telling him, don't finish the story, David. Don't go with her. Laura says, finish it. Back at the hospital, Liz is saying that I can see fire all around David. And she's yelling his name. Liz is yelling and reacting as if she's standing outside that window with Victoria. It's like they're both seeing the same thing, except Liz is however many miles away Boston is from Collinsport. 50 miles? It's a minute. It's a real minute. But back at the fishing shack, David finally snaps out of it. Like, just for a second, maybe almost as if he heard Liz calling his name, but that doesn't last very long. He continues with wherever he was at in the story. So Laura says, come to me now. It's time to go. Victoria's like, you'll burn, you'll die. And the shack is falling apart. Like wooden beams are coming down. They're on fire. Like they're falling in between the actors and the camera. It's very scary. Laura's saying, hurry! Don't let me leave without you. Victoria says, don't listen to her. Don't move. So Laura says, it's too late. And she screams. And David is like, if you were to take a couple of steps, he would have been up to her. Like, she's not that far away. So it's basically right in his face. He's watching his mother burn alive. But that's enough to snap him out of the trance he was under. And then he turns, the door's right there. He unlocks it. And he runs up to Victoria. So he gets out of there. And we see the living room for the credits. Oh, what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. Yeah, smash that like button if you haven't already. And I suppose R.I.P. to Laura Collins. It's the fourth death we've had on the show. A drink. Yeah, really scary episode. And I'm just going to check my audio here. Yeah, lots of fire, lots of yelling, lots of back and forth. We finally get to see Liz again. Let me make sure this audio's okay. Give me just a minute here. Oh, that's good stuff. I remembered to make some tea, and by tea I mean hot water with honey that's room temperature now. It's good for the throat, right? I forget the trick. Do you have tea with lemon first, or tea with honey first, and then tea with lemon afterwards, or is it vice versa? There was a made-for-TV movie about Madonna one year, and I watched it, and it was in that, but it was so long ago I've forgotten it. I haven't seen it since. And my mirror fell on the floor. That's okay. You know what? You just stay down there. You'll be fine. People my age don't learn from books, we learn from media. Okay, yeah, so a super scary episode. But now we're on episode 192. This aired on March 21st, 1967. It's still day 44. It's nighttime. We're in the woods. And it's Victoria and David sort of run up to these trees that are, we get the impression they're not very far from the shack. We can see the light flashing on them as if something's burning not too far away. So they kind of stop to look back at what's going on over there. And we don't get to see it, but they get to watch the fishing shack burn. And it's not a very big structure, so I'm sure it can't take long for it to burn down. But David doesn't seem like he wants to go. Victoria's got to hold on to him, and she tells him, "We're going home." David says, "That was my home." Victoria says, "That's the fishing shack." So just then Burke runs up. He finds them. Victoria tells him that there's no one inside. Laura vanished. And that's when David sort of realizes he's not looking at a house or anything. That is just a fishing shack. Must have still had some little remnants of that trance over him, but he seems to be snapping out of it. So now we're in the hospital again, and Liz is talking to Carolyn. She says that she has to remember what happened before she fell out, or she won't be able to rest. Like, she sort of remembers she was dreaming, and she remembers the storm, and it's someone being in her room. Carolyn says, "Yeah, well, we heard you call out, and you said you remembered." Liz says, "There was a dark shadow in my room." Almost said it. But it wasn't the Laura Collins we know. It was some other being. Liz wanted to resist her, but she didn't have the strength. Carolyn tells her Laura is gone. That's why you're better now. And no, she didn't leave with David. Liz says, that doctor you mentioned, Guthrie, did he do a lot of prying? Did he go to the old house or to the West Wing? And Carol's like, "Well, yeah, I looked around everywhere. Sort of gave him the run of the house." Liz asks, "Did he go into the basement?" Carolyn goes, "He didn't mention it. Why?" Liz, no reason. I've got to get back to Collinwood now. I've got to see if David's all right. Carolyn tells her again, like, "I told you, Laura's gone. Roger put her on a bus this morning." Liz says, "Why did you let them take me?" She told her she didn't want to be taken out of Collinwood. Carolyn tells her that she didn't have a choice. But she promises David's all right. Like, "That's why you want to get back, isn't it?" And Liz, "Oh, yes." seems more worried about the basement than David, but Carolyn offers to call Collinwood so she doesn't have to worry. Like, let's just call. You can talk to David, or, well, it's late, so I'm sure she's thinking, like, we'll talk to Victoria. Victoria will tell you that David's fine, so you can relax. So that's her thinking. So it's like, no, I just want to leave now. I can't rest until I get back to Collinwood. Like, I didn't want to be taken out of it. I don't want to call the place. I want to go back to the place. And nothing else is going to work, so let's pack me up. Let's go. So now we're up in Collinwood. We're in David's room. And Victoria's getting him tucked into bed. He's got the blankets on and all this. And David's saying, did the fishing shack burn down? Victoria, yes, it did. David's like, all my fishing stuff was in there. I wonder how it got started. My mother's gone, isn't she? Why didn't I go with her? Victoria says, well, because you wanted to stay with us, because you knew we'd miss you. And your mother wasn't mad that you decided to stay. David says that he's glad that he stayed. He doesn't ever want to leave Collinwood. So it's like he's got a bit of amnesia here. He does not remember watching his mother burn alive in front of him an hour ago. So I'm sure that's for the best, but it's weird that he can't remember that and it just happened. I guess Timmy Fury was in a trance for most of it, so it sort of makes sense that he can't remember it, but it's still, you'd think that would stick with you, but oh, okay. Magic. So down in the living room, Victoria's there, and she's saying to Burke that David remembers that Laura is gone, but he can't remember any of the rest. Burke says he's probably in shock. So just then Roger walks in, but he sees Burke standing there. He says, what's going on? Tried to go into town and relax, and someone said there was a fire up at Collinwood. So he pours himself a drink. Victoria lets him know that it was the fishing shack that burnt down. Roger says, is that all? I'm sure it sounded like they were saying the house was burning down, but he gets up there, it's just the fishing shack, so it's, oh. But Burke leaves the room so they can talk. He's not exactly invited up in there, he just always happens to be there. But Victoria lets Roger know that Laura came back. And she was in the fishing shack when it burned. Roger says she didn't escape. Victoria tells him that I got David out just in time. Just like with that Laura Murdoch Radcliffe story. And this is, well, kind of hitting Roger pretty hard. He's sort of in shock here himself. He says, she wanted to kill David. Where is he now? Victoria, he's asleep. He's forgotten everything that's happened. Roger seems relieved, but he's still seems kind of concerned. But that's when the phone rings. And Victoria answers it. It's Carolyn saying that, Liz is awake. She's all right. Victoria lets her know that Laura burnt to death tonight. but David is okay. Carolyn lets her know that Liz will be coming home soon. She says, we're finally free. Hangs up. Oh, it's all over. So Liz is there saying, I've got to go back to Collinwood. Like, she doesn't even want to go back to sleep. She just wants to pack her bags and go. So up in David's room, Roger, goes in, sort of tucks him in, messes with the everybody goes in there and messes with the blankets and wakes up David. This is like the third time it happens, but that's what Roger does, kind of just making sure he's covered up. That wakes him up. David's like, Father? Roger says, it's me. David says, I. You're supposed to say, it is I, even if it sounds funny. It's like, sorry, you sent us through to correct your elders. Did you hear about the fishing shack? I lost my pole that Matthew helped me make. Did you want anything? Roger, no. Go back to sleep. He just wanted to make sure his son's okay. This is one of the first times we've really seen Roger genuinely concerned for his son. It's like when he first read about that in the paper, or how Laura Murdoch Radcliffe burnt up with her son, David, and he didn't want to be saved. Like, that spooked him. This is worse than that. So as much as he doesn't like his son, he's still, like, there's still this part of him way deep down that loves his son. Like, wow, from Roger, you don't say. So we get to see that. Wow, the man's got a heart. Who'd have thought? So down in the living room, Burke is saying that fire is almost out, and Joe's out there watching it just to make sure it doesn't spread. Like, oh, he's a firefighter too. But there's really nothing left but ashes. Victoria says, Laura knew how she would die. I heard her tell David that legend of the Phoenix. Burke's like, oh, there is one thing. Burke found he's got something wrapped up in a handkerchief. Unwraps it, shows it to Victoria. Joe found this in the ashes. It's that locket that we first saw when she showed up, and it's got that, to me, it's an ancient Egyptian star, but I use it like a letter A. It's sort of a dark stone. It's got that, metal star, five-pointed star in the middle, and the whole thing is made out of, like, I assume it's gold. We never see it in color. They use a lot of gold hardware back then, which I prefer. But it's perfectly clean, too. But what Victoria's freaked out about is she's like, that lady in Phoenix who burnt up in Laura's apartment had this, and there's only one like it. And this is what I saw Laura wearing when she first arrived at Collinwood. What's that locket made out of that it didn't burn up? How hot does gold have to be before it melts? But, oh, okay. All right, sure. So this leads me to believe that, I mean, why wouldn't we believe this? But the fact that these fires took place on the same night, this one here, and the one where Laura Murdoch Radcliffe burnt up, since that happened on October 26, 1867, there's no reason for us to not believe that the date now is October 26, 1967. And just from watching other episodes, I know later on we get two dates that we can very clearly see. Like, one's handwritten and another one is a newspaper. I believe both of those are in April. And we see one and it's a day, and then we see the other one and it's a day prior to that, which the show doesn't travel back in time like that. Oh, it's up, Beach Chap. Glad you made it. So that's when I had to. I'm writing it down for myself. The dates. I don't think I'm going to include them in this because I did have to go to the Dark Shadows wiki and I did have to do a lot of jumping back and forth with the dates. Like, how does this correspond with the date that we see in episode 200 and something, and then another date after that? Like, how do all of these, are they ever in sync with one another, or did they just print a date on a newspaper thinking nobody was going to pay attention to it? I mean, probably. But as far as what I'm keeping track of personally, I'm like slowly keeping track of the what the date would be in universe. So I've got that for myself. If it's just because if it's too wildly different when we get to those other dates, it'll completely throw me off. It'll screw these up. So I'm not going to mention them here, but if they do end up syncing up, I might bring it into the reviews. But I'm just sticking with the like day one, day two, day three kind of a thing for now. But um, I guess if you didn't watch any, if you're watching everything in order, you would have no idea that they do show other dates. Um, Other than this, you would imagine everything we see ahead of time is going to be in sync with and correlate to, like they're going to keep the date in universe in mind when they show us future dates. So as I'm trying to think of it as somebody who has never watched the show before, what would you think what day it is? If you don't know any of the future dates that they tell us, you would assume that's today's date. So I've got that sort of in mind. What's up, one to go to? Glad you made it. So yeah, if you want to start with day 44 being October 26, 1967, that would mean that Victoria shows up roughly in September of 1967, and considering the show started in June of 1966, that means that the events that we're seeing on the show took place in the future. If any of that's confusing, I had to spend hours on it. I'm like, wait a minute, that means this. That means that other date. And then what's going to happen when they jump back in time? And I'm like, girl, you're thinking about it too much. We are nowhere near that. Calm down. Nobody even knows that's going to happen. Unless you watched the show back in the day and saw those episodes. One of the times yeah. So that's just going to be fun for me to keep track of for myself. And then if it comes into, if I can use it in the reviews, I will. But if not, I'll just keep that information for myself because I don't want to confuse people. Some of the stuff can get confusing. But yeah, that's a finally get a solid date. And oh wait, that's not that wasn't last night's date. It's tomorrow, meaning tonight. And yeah, so it's but yeah, that's a whole thing. John Rogers, I was born in April of '67. LOL. Oh my god. Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to have watched this show back then. You'd have just, I don't know, maybe caught the last year of it. I don't know if 5-year-olds should have been watching this show. It's, well, there are, that I can remember, two times in the whole show where things get, like, I understand you couldn't talk about the same things on a TV show back then that you can now, but they really do imply some bad sexual things happened, and I guess they imply it as hard as they could back then. But I don't know if folks picked up on it back then. Uh, One I didn't quite catch the first time, but the second one I'm like, wait a minute, why is she, why is he, what happened? Can they talk about that on the show? What? But it's yeah. One of them's later on, and one is I think in the last year of the show. Yeah, probably don't want your 5-year-old watching this. Want to go to? Yeah, glad I made it too. Got a bit distracted. Ordering my mom a blender. Oh hell yeah! Blenders are cool. Beach Chip makes me feel like buying using an air fryer machine. You know, I've never used one. Is fried air like a water pie? So yeah, now we're on to episode 193. This aired on March 22nd, 1967. And it is day 45. It's nighttime. It's still the same night, but it's been past midnight now. But we're at the Evans cottage. Maggie opens the door, and Joe's there. He's like, I just couldn't make it home. He's dirty. He's tired as hell. Comes in and sits down. He's just really a wreck. I mean, he's been up all night looking for David, and then he had to watch that fire until it went out. So I'm sure he's tired as hell. Oh, John Rogers says the oven I bought has a built-in air fryer. Oh, cool. Do you like it? Is it like a cleaner version of a deep fryer? Want to go to deep fried air? Sounds like country fair food, you know? Isn't that what they make cotton candy with? Because it's just air and swooping around, and you get the stuff. But Joe sits down, just drops himself down in one of the chairs. Maggie says, there was a fire. I'm sure he smells like smoke. She said, something happened to David, didn't it? It's like, tell me. Joe says, Victoria saved David at the fishing shack. She said, we looked for David all night. Her and Burke and myself. And just then Sam comes out, all like the doors opening and closing, and he just woke him up. And Joe continues, just letting them know that there was no body in the ashes. Victoria said that Laura vanished. Sam says she really wasn't human. Is she gone for good? Maggie's like, yes. The day Laura arrived, she told me about the phoenix, the bird phoenix. Sam says, were all the Lauras the same person? Maggie says, maybe. We'll never know for sure. Sam says, well, that's impossible. But it's most likely the truth. I don't believe that, but what else could it be? B-Chap says, just check eBay, both air fryer machines, plus even deep fried. Very expensive. Oh, John Rogers has never used that. I use my deep fryer. Nice. That's just for looking at. So now it is daytime. It's about the afternoon in Collinsport. You know, get the nice, everything's normal downtown shot, cars, buildings. And we're at the Evans cottage, and Sam is just staring down at his hands, like no bandages, no scars, or nothing like that. They're totally healed up now. What a coincidence. But there's a knock on the door. He opens it up. It's this lady. We haven't seen her before. She's a Mrs. Portia Fitzsimmons. She's an art dealer. And she is interested in any pictures that Sam had painted from about 10 or 12 years ago. She thinks that style of art is going to come back into style again, and she wants to put on a show. And Sam was just surprised anybody knows about his work. She lets them know that about 2 weeks ago, she found a couple of paintings of his at this junk shop, and The deal was that if you bought the frames, the pictures came with it for free. That's what she got, and she liked it, and she wants at least 12 of them to put in a show in 1 week's time. Sam says, a week? So now we're at the Blue Whale, and Joe and Maggie are there. Joe says, I don't think I'll be surprised by anything again. Maggie, she's in a good mood too. She says that Sam was just staring at his healed hands all afternoon, just staring at them. Probably the left hand more because he's left-handed. I'm in the middle of the shot. Right, there we go. So he's happy his hands are back to normal. Joe asks, have you talked to Victoria or anyone up at Collinwood? Just then, there's way, like when there's two actors on a shot talking, they're not that close, they're not kissing, but they're both talking. Way in the back there at the bar, there's a fellow back there, just some middle-aged, maybe older type guy, hat, trench coat, and his head kind of perks up there when Joe mentioned Collinwood. Or in the Blue Whale is my favorite part, right? Where I'm at personally, they're spending a lot more time up in there, but I'm a little bit closer to episode 210. But this dude notices what they're talking about. And Joe's telling Maggie that Carolyn called to say that Liz is suddenly better. Maggie says, and we both know why. Right then, that guy walks up to the table they're at. Excuse me, did you mention Mrs. Stoddard and Collinwood? Joe says, yeah. And the guy says, and you said she was better. Joe looks at him. He says, you a friend of hers? Guy says, well, I'd like to think so. It's been a long time. A really long time. Has she been ill? And Joe, he's really not the type to be giving out details about folks that he knows. If you're a stranger, he's going to treat you like a stranger and he's going to shut down. So that's what he's doing. He's just getting really suspicious of this dude. Joe tells him, I don't think I should talk about it. He's like, of course. And he sits down with him. It's like, but just tell me one thing. If Liz, Mrs. Stoddard, if she's been ill, she's better now, right? Joe's done talking, completely stone-faced, like just staring at this dude who just invited himself up to the table. He's done talking. Maggie said, well, what's the difference? Everyone finds out about what happens up at Collinwood anyway, Joe. So Joe says, she's been sick, but she's better. And that guy, he's too happy to hear about that. He's relieved. And he says that he's been away for a while. Says that he's not from Collinsport. So Maggie's like, oh, maybe you know my father, Sam Evans. I was like, Evans? No, it doesn't ring a bell. By the way, my name's Jason McGuire. This fella does have an Irish accent. I can't do accents, let alone an Irish one. I'll spare you from any attempts. But he does, so just know that. If you kind of can't tell from his last name. So Maggie introduces herself and introduces Joe, and Jason offers to buy them both a drink, and Joe says, well, we were just leaving. So Jason asks, do you know if she's well enough for visitors? So Maggie tells him, well, she's been up at a hospital in Boston, but she'll be home soon. And Jason asks, do you know about a scandal that went on with Mrs. Stoddard? Maggie said, no. Well, maybe. So Joe's like, maybe you shouldn't. Joe's just trying to get her to stop being so open with this stranger. Maggie tells him, well, everyone knows that Liz has stayed up at Collinwood for the last 18 years, and no one knows why. Jason says, oh, yeah, Mrs. Stoddard is probably still a beautiful woman. Maggie says she is. Jason says, and she stayed near Collinwood all this time. How sad. And it seemed like Jason had been around for a long time. It seemed like if you start with 210, it feels like the dude's been around forever. Yeah. But he's a very charming fellow. Like he's all smiles. He's all very like apologizes for interrupting them, and like yes, he is asking a lot of questions, but he's not really being rude about it. It says everything with a smile, like he's trying to put people at ease, trying to charm them, just trying to get extra information out of them. Just from this first scene, you kind of get that. Like nobody else knows this much about the Collins family who comes in from out of town, and suddenly this dude is asking all this stuff about Liz. So like, well, if you know her from 18 years ago, we know that she's been up in there for 18 years and something went down. We know that's when her husband left, so what does this guy know about what happened back then that's keeping Liz in the house? So, mystery. I do like this actor, too. He does a very good job. So now it's nighttime at Collinwood, and Sam is there. He wants the pictures that he sold Roger 10 years ago. Roger's like, I'm not going to give them to you. I paid $15,000 for them. Sam says, that was for something else. Roger's like, don't mention that. Like, I might sell them to you for $50,000. Unless you have a counter offer. What do you give me? Sam says, I'll give you 48 hours, and then I'm going to Burke to tell him that you framed him. And he takes off. What is that worth? So, it's been a while since I've looked up 15,000. So $15,000. If he sold him the pictures 10 years ago, and I'd assume that was 10 years prior to 1966. Maybe it was 1967. Okay, so it would be $15,000 in 1957 would be 1,700, or pardon me, $173,622.06 today. But then $50,000 in 1967. Oh shit! Would be worth $486,904.19. So almost $500,000. Sam doesn't have that kind of money. So what do you give me? I'll give you 48 hours, and then I'm going to Burke. Yeah, Jason's really polite, but he's really nosy. All right, episode 194 aired on March 23rd, 1967. And now we're on day 46. It's afternoon. We're in the living room. It's cold. It's windy. But it's a sunny day. And David is at the window, just looking out that window there that they open out when they're stressed out, just looking outside. But Victoria comes in. She says that Roger left for Boston early this morning, so he should be back soon with Liz. She's like, David, did you wash your hands? Yeah, let me see. So Arden Sam is spending a lot of time with the blue whale, I think. He does. If anything goes wrong, he worries. And when he worries, he drinks. So he's been worried about Laura this whole time. So I'm sure he's spending every spare minute he can drinking because he couldn't paint. So what else is he going to do? Just putter around the house and look at his art supplies he can't use and the bottle he can't crack open when he can just go to the bar and slap some money down or put it on your tab and the bartender pours all your drink. So he's just been drinking a lot. Yeah, drinking and worrying. And it doesn't seem to work, so he's still worried about everything. But yeah, poor Sam. But when Victoria looks at David's hand, she's like, you're trembling. So David admits he's kind of scared to see Liz because the last time he saw her when she was ill, she looked dead, just lying there in the bed like that. Victoria tells him, well, she's better now. Everything's going to be fine. So now we're at the front door, outside the front doors there, and Carolyn and Liz walk up. Carolyn's got her arm around her mom as if she's going to fall out, like she's unsteady on her feet, but she's walking fine. But they come in, and Victoria, goes up, welcomes Liz back. David runs up, greets her. Everybody's happy to see Liz. And then Roger comes in. It's like, all right, that's plenty of, welcome backs. David, get up to your room. And Liz kind of doesn't understand why, but Carolyn says that the doctor said that Liz needs to spend the rest of the day up in bed, and she can start giving the orders tomorrow. So Victoria and Liz head upstairs. And David takes off through the kitchen door. But Carolyn wants to talk to Roger. So they go into the living room. Carolyn asks, is the business doing okay? Roger's like, well, you would know. You get to see the ledgers, and she gets to see more about the business than he does, so how the hell would he know more than her? But Carolyn says that ever since Liz started to get better, she's been anxious to get home. Roger tells her, well, the business is thriving. She was worried about David. Carolyn says that getting back to Collinwood was the most important thing in the world to her. Why? Roger doesn't know. So we're up in Liz's bedroom. She's changed into some jammies, some kind of. It's always some kind of like long sleeve, a little bit loose, just something with a bow up here, just something comfy bed gown type of a. You can't like walk around the house in it, but it's just something you wear to bed. But David's sitting up there on the bed next to her, saying that he learned about a lot about it, a bunch of different kinds of ships from his mother. And she said that her father was a ship captain. And Liz is like, yeah, that's true, he was. He's like, my mom is smarter than I thought she would be. Liz says, do you miss her? David, sometimes, but I wanted to stay here. So just then Victoria comes up to let David know that dinner's ready, so he's out of the room. Liz says to Victoria that she's glad that David only has good memories of Laura. Victoria tells her that David was in a daze when Laura lured him in, and all he remembers is a fire and that his mother is gone. Liz says that if it wasn't for you, Laura would have taken David with her. Victoria says we all tried to save David, especially Dr. Guthrie. Liz's like, oh, yeah, Carolyn told me about him. Victoria says, well, she gave him free reign of the house, and he said there were a lot of mysteries here. So Liz asks her now, did he spend a lot of time in the West Wing? And Victoria, yeah. And the attic? Sure. How about the basement? Victoria, well, he went down there a few times. Are you okay? You look pale. Liz, I'm fine. I just need rest. So Victoria leaves her alone, leaves the room. So now it's later on. It's nighttime. We can see there's the windows there in Liz's room, so we can roughly gauge about what time it is. It's dark, so it's night. But Liz gets up out of bed. She can move around fine. She doesn't seem like she's gonna fall out. Gets up, puts on a robe. Just then Roger walks in, like, busted. You're supposed to be in bed. Can't you take orders from anyone? Get back in there. But Liz says that she's noticed that Carolyn has grown up a lot since she left. And she asks, what do you think about Laura? Roger says that wasn't Laura. So Liz asks him, what happened to the jewelry I was wearing? Roger's like, oh, if you mean that gold chain with the key, it's in your bedside table over there. So there's just like a little, nightstand there, pull out the drawer. It's just a key on a long chain. Roger says, what does that unlock? Liz says, why? I don't question you. Roger, it's good to have you home. Fine, I'll drop it. So he leaves her alone. So down in the foyer, Carolyn is saying to Victoria that something is bothering Liz, and she won't say what. Victoria says that, well, she told me she's waiting for Paul Stoddard to come home. Carolyn says, I don't believe that anymore. You didn't see her when she woke up. Victoria says, well, she was out for 5 weeks. I don't think it's been 5 weeks. I really don't. I didn't go back and look. But we're barely 5 weeks into the show in universe. There's no way Liz was out for that long. But okay, it's okay. Well, sure. Maybe it felt like 5 weeks to you, Victoria. Fine. I'm not gonna like count ahead, but it just okay. We'll just stick with that. Again, sometimes when they give times and dates on the show, I think they don't think anybody was quite paying attention, that close attention to it. So okay, sure. Maybe it felt like that. It did feel like a long time, sure, but all right. That's what she said. That's what I wrote down. Well, Victoria also says that it's normal to want to come home. If you've been away, it's just normal to want to get back. So don't worry about it. And we see the clock. It's 2:30 a.m., so that means it's day 47 now. The clock in the foyer we see. Then we're down in the basement. There's Liz coming down the stairs. Takes that key on the chain, unlocks the padlock to the locked room in the basement, goes inside. Then we see the clock in the foyer again. Now it's 2:40 in the morning. And we see in the basement, Liz comes out of that room, locks the door back up, turns around, gets a jump scare. Victoria's standing right there at the stairs. Lizzie, what are you doing down here? Victoria's, I heard noises 10 minutes ago. I just wanted to check Collinwood. I couldn't sleep. Victoria says, I'm sure no one went in there. Don't worry. Liz, I'm not worried. Promise you won't tell anyone I was down here. And we see the basement for the credits. Dandy, what's up? We want Barnabas. We want Barnabas. Says hi to me and the rest of the chat. It's coming up. I'm going as fast as I can. I really am. I'm personally on episode 205. So we're getting there. We're getting so close. I just don't know how the episodes are going to line up. Because I've got my favorite actor coming on the show, and then we've got Barnabas coming on the show, and as much as I kind of wanted to, we'll see how it plays out. I know I'm getting excited because when I started my watch through the first two times, it was at episode 210, and I just knew a little bit about what happened before, and then I actually watched it about a year ago. Really fast. I blew through these episodes so quickly. But we're getting like I was saying, they add about 3 characters to the show, and that's the gets the big changes started. We've got one of them on the show now. So episode 195 aired on March 24th, 1967. It's day 47 here. It's daytime now. It's morning. Still day 47. We're in the living room, and Liz is. She's wearing this dress. It's got buttons down the front, huge like big pockets down where it's a dress. So where like the pockets on pants would be, like below the waist, like big pockets in the front, and these like curvy like lapels. It's just got this swirly white border to it. It's different. It's got this shiny fabric. It's a new dress. We haven't seen this before. Some kind of gray. And she's ready to get back to it. She just wants to go to her desk where she does her paperwork at. There's the wet bar, and then there's the desk there where folks work at. Piano's off to the side, fireplace. So she just wants to get back to the desk and look at her ledgers and go through the mail and just get back to it. You know how you've been sick for a long time. You want to start to act normal. So she's ready. She's been home for less than 24 hours. Let's do it. But Victoria's there saying that Joe brought the ledgers over and the accountants have them up to date. So Liz tells her, remember not to tell anyone you saw me in the basement last night. art and the fashion was fantastic. It is. When we get to the color episodes, it's like a whole extra character comes on. We get to talk about all the clothes. Oh, it's that color. Oh, that's and like the colors of the walls and the candles and everything like that. It just everything. It's so great. Some people have their own color schemes. At one point, we're in the color episode, and suddenly everybody gets a gray outfit to wear. Like, finally, we don't have to worry about how this is going to look in black and white. Let's put everyone in gray. Which is fine by me. I like the color gray. But just now, Carolyn enters, and she's saying that she dropped off David with Burke to go on a fishing trip. Somebody asked me about that, but David finally gets to go on a fishing trip. So him and Burke are off having fun fishing for the day. Good for them. He didn't back out of taking him on that fishing trip. Good man. That almost makes up for him not having any manners and barging into people's homes, so good on him. Like the 60s fashion, the hair. Liz has those bows in her hair. Oh my god. I can't even. But Carolyn's like, yeah, David's out with Burke fishing, and saying to her mommy, you woke me up last night. I heard your door open and close a few times, and I know because the floorboards outside your door make a specific creaking sound. Liz, oh, well, that wasn't me. You heard Victoria. She came to check on me. Didn't you, Vicky? Like, tell her. Victoria, it's true. So that's cool with Carolyn. She takes off. Liz, thank you. That was necessary. Just please trust me. Thanks for lying for me. Victoria really does, tell the truth. She's not going to tell tales out of school, but she doesn't want to lie either, and she just doesn't want to lie. Carolyn's her friend, but she lied for Liz. Okay, she did what she asked. Now we're in the Collinsport Inn. We're in the diner there, and Maggie's got a radio up there. Never seen a radio in that place before. But she fiddles with it, gets some music playing, just some nondescript. They don't ever play like a song on there. It's always just this instrumental type of music. That's probably real songs. Arden's looked them up before, but it's nothing I know. Probably the kind of stuff Puffs Gaming 81 listens to. How does the Zoomer get into jazz? But just then Jason walks in from the double doors that lead to the rest of the hotel. But he orders a coffee with lemon. Maggie looks at him like nobody's ever ordered that before, but he's going on about how he got a taste for it in Italy. So he gets his lemon and he like rubs it around the edge of the coffee cup. Just, that's what you like. Weird as hell to me. I remember turn of the century, they were putting lemon in all the sodas, so I'm like, whatever, man. And Maggie figures that Jason has spent time at sea, just because Collinsport is a sea town, and it's easy to spot an old salt. And he kind of doesn't like to be called old. Like, he looks like he feels some kind of way about being called old. Like, dude, you are of a certain age. Come on now. But Maggie asks if he's just passing through, and not really. He sort of plans on being around for a little bit. She's like, oh, well, are you looking for work? Oh, I didn't know. He said, fishing boats aren't my speed. He said, I'm a first officer, and I've sailed every sea in the world. I'll give you $100 if you can name one port I haven't pulled into. Maggie says Collinsport, Maine. So he says, I owe you $100. So Maggie sits down next to him. She says, you seem too smart to not be looking for something important. And there's Jason. He says, you do great things for a man's ego. You're a charmer. It's like, then he goes on about, I know everything there is to know about coffee. It takes one tree to make a pound of coffee. Then he says, I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody told me that once. I love that line. But see, like he's very charming, and Maggie is very interested in people, so that they've met one other time, but they get along pretty well. So just then Victoria walks in, and there's Maggie there. She's telling her that how Liz is back from the hospital, or Mrs. Stoddard is back from the hospital. Jason perks up, looks behind him. He's like, "Did you say Mrs. Stoddard?" Victoria's like, "Yeah, she's back from the hospital. It was serious, but she's okay now." Do you know her? Jason, do you work for her? Victoria's, well, I'm a tutor for David. That's Jason said, who would David be? And Victoria says, well, he's Roger's son. He's like, oh, yes, that's right. And Liz had a child, didn't she? Victoria, Carolyn. Jason says, and they all live together up in Collinwood. And what about Paul Stoddard? Victoria says, oh, no one mentions him. He left 18 years ago. That's news to that's interesting to Jason, but he's got to go, so he just thanks her for talking to him, but he takes off then. Totally didn't answer Victoria's question when she asked if he knew Liz, but so Victoria's like, who is that? So Maggie says, I met him at the Blue Whale. He seems nice. I just know he's been at sea and he's passing through Collinsport. Victoria's really suspicious of this guy. She says he seems to know a lot about the Collins family and Paul Stoddard. He seemed like he really wanted to know where they all are. Victoria spent too much time hanging out with Frank Garner. Now she's suspicious. So over in Collinwood at the foyer, knock on the door. Carolyn answers. And it's Jason is there. Carolyn tells him, well, she's not seeing anyone. And like, I don't know you. Jason says, I know you. And he just invites himself in, and nobody asks him. He just steps inside. Carolyn's like, where do you know me from? He's like, right here. He's looking around in the foyers, looking around at everything. Like, this place hasn't changed a bit. Carolyn walks up to him like, who are you? Jason says, will Liz be down soon? I'll wait inside. And just walks into the living room. Again, nobody asked you to go in there. So they're in the living room. Carolyn asks again, like, who are you? Jason says he's an old acquaintance. And I'm not going to tell you my name because it's a surprise. Carolyn asks him, well, where have you been? Jason, oh, I've been everywhere, 10 times. You're as beautiful as your mother. And just then we hear from upstairs, Liz is calling for Carolyn. So Carolyn walks out of the living room. They both meet up on the stairs in the foyer. And Liz is wearing the dress that I like. It's a dark dress with long sleeves, and then it's got this white. It's like the top is separate, shiny fabric that's sort of like folded over, like you can tell with my black shirt. But it's got that kind of collar, and then the same kind of cuffs. I love that dress. Arden says some real songs at the Blue Whale. Pedro Gonzalez and his Mexican Brass. Sid Dale. Engelbert Humperdinck. Love Me With All Your Heart. Yeah, it's I wonder if certain characters play songs that they like, because like Joe, like everybody at some point will play a song on the jukebox. I don't know if they're picking a song that they like, or if they're just hitting the button that's the most worn down. The music always fits the scene again, except for one time. I forget when that is, but I'll point it out because it's like somebody put cartoon music in the jukebox. It does not fit the show or any kind of scene that would have the show pick this song. Not the worst thing that happens with the music on the show. All the music on the show is generally good until, yeah, something happens later on, then it gets a little bit weird. Arden, yeah, it's like I wonder, like if Joe always plays the same song, or if does Sam always play the same song on the jukebox, that sort of a thing. But Carolyn meets her mother up on the stairs, and she tells her that someone's here to see you, and it's a surprise. So, oh, okay, like Liz doesn't know a lot of people. Who could it be? We won't tell them their name, but she's not. I don't think she's thinking that deep into it. But we're back in the living room, and Jason is just taking it upon himself to pour himself a drink. Just make yourself a home guy. Oh my God, bruh. But Liz, she's got the hair bow too. Liz is all done up. And she walks in, and the wet bar is situated so that like his back is to the room, like we can see him, nobody else can. But Liz walks in and she's smiling. We rarely get to see Liz smile, but she's got this big smile on her face. And she, yes, can I help you? And guy turns around. Jason. She does not want to see this guy. And we see the foyer for the credits. I did notice that Jason, while he does have his trench coat on, he is wearing a dark pants and dark shirt. Kind of makes me think of Rufus Shinra, who wears a white suit with a black undershirt. Final Fantasy VII reference. She just hasn't been out of the hospital 24 hours. Here's some person that she does not want to see making himself at home. This can't go well. So episode 196 aired on March 27th, 1967. It's still day 47. It's the afternoon. Liz has her just single, just one giant pearl for the earrings with that. And the collar's too high to wear a necklace with it. And there's Liz, like, you're the last person I expected to see. I know Jason, he's all smiles. But Carolyn walks in, and Jason says, oh, I've been talking to Carolyn. She's as beautiful as you are. Carolyn says, does he always talk like this? Liz, yes, from what I can remember. Carolyn, this is Jason McGuire. This is someone that I used to know. Why are you here? Jason says, didn't you get my letter? I sent it a few months ago. Oh, this room hasn't changed in 18 years. Not since that night. You remember it, don't you? I don't know why I keep thinking about it. So Liz asks Carolyn to ask Mrs. Johnson to make them some coffee. So Carolyn leaves the room. Liz closes the doors. And there's Jason again complimenting Liz's look. She does not react to this any kind of way. She says, what do you want? Jason says, I'm just passing through. I'll be leaving soon. Unless you want me to leave this minute. Liz, no. You know how I feel. And this whole time she's just, she wrings her hands so much in this episode, in this scene. Like, you can, when Liz is stressed out, she's wringing her hands. And that's her just the whole time. Her hands are just, well, like she's working Play-Doh between them. Like her hands are just never still. She's really fretting. Jason says, I wish you didn't feel that way. Things that happened 18 years ago have a lot to do with how I've spent my time since then. Liz asks, where are you staying? Jason says, I thought you would ask me to stay here. So now we're in Roger's study. Carolyn's in there. Victoria walks in. She's like, why are the living room doors shut? And Carolyn is completely charmed by Jason. He was complimenting her. He was being silly with his where he's been in all these years type of stories, and he goes every place 10 times that he liked 9 times previous. So she's just, oh my god, the man was nice to me and gave me compliments. So she's just kind of up in the clouds. She says, well, Mother has a dashing and handsome visitor she hasn't seen in 18 years. His name's Jason McGuire. Victoria says, does he have an Irish accent? Carolyn, yeah. Victoria says, that's the same man who came into the diner and was asking about Liz and the Collins family and Paul Stoddard. And he wanted to know where Paul is. Liz is like, oh, he's just fascinating. Do you think he's an old boyfriend? So over in the living room, Liz is saying, I don't owe you anything. Jason says, I think you've forgotten the most important incident of your life. Turning me away isn't wise. Liz, how long will you stay? Jason says, tell them I'm here for a brief stay. So Liz offers him a room on the first floor near the servants' quarters. Jason's like, no, I prefer a room on the second floor, preferably with an ocean view. So just then Roger walks in. Like the doors were closed, he just opens it up, walks right in. But I mean, it's his house. But Liz introduces them, Jason, Roger, Jason McGuire. Jason's like, I remember you. We met 18 years ago. And Roger can't recall the guy. But Roger offers him a brandy. Jason says, oh, I'm fine now. Maybe later. Roger says, later? Liz, I asked him to stay over. Roger's shocked. So Jason leaves. He's got to go get his stuff. So Liz tells Roger that, well, I know him from years ago. Roger says he doesn't seem like the type of person you'd go out with. Liz says he was Paul's friend. And he's just passing through. Roger asks, what do you two have in common? So Liz goes and opens the window. She's stressed out. Roger's like, well, how long is he staying? 1 night? 2? Liz, I don't know. So just then Carolyn and Vicky come in, and Carolyn wanted to tell Jason goodbye. So Roger says, well, you'll see him again. Carolyn's kind of confused by that. Liz tells her, I asked Jason to stay. Victoria, she's off camera. She's like, you what? But Carolyn's happy to hear it. And she didn't think Liz was too happy to see Jason. So Roger, oh. Liz says, I won't be cross-examined. Says to Roger that Jason is not your concern. And Roger's, oh, okay. I was just curious. Fine. Leaves the room. So Liz tells Carolyn, don't misinterpret anything you see or hear. And don't go out of your way for Jason. So Carolyn, oh, it's no trouble at all. She can't wait to see this dude again. She leaves the room. And Victoria can tell that Liz is just not herself. And so she asks, is there anything I can do to help? Liz tells her, just promise me. Promise you'll never say I was in the basement. I have to trust someone. So now we're in the Collinsport Inn lobby in the phone booth there. And Jason's on the phone. We can't hear who's on the other end. It's like, yeah, it's me. Who else would it be? It's like, everything's great. Everything's going beautifully. And then we see Roger's study for the credits. So not only is Jason in town, he's got a buddy. Someone else. So great, there's 2 of them. Like, this guy does not seem like, this guy already seems like a handful and a half, but then he's got a pal somewhere. What's this gonna be like? It's so hard to act like I don't know what's gonna go on this show. I think that's the hardest thing about doing these. I just have to kind of play dumb about some stuff. Like, oh, that means this is going to happen. You're going to love one. Like, no, I don't want to be one of those kind of reviews. Like, I don't know. Maybe his partner's a girl. I doubt somebody like him's going to pal around with a chick, but just, okay. Again, we don't know. He didn't say a name. He just, said it's me and everything's going great, so. I don't think he's talking to himself. But now episode 197, this aired on March 28, 1967. It is day 48 in the morning. And we are in the foyer. Jason's in a suit and tie. With, never mind the trench coat and the dark clothes. Just a suit and tie. Just normal. It's sort of dark colored. Danny said, LOL, I never realized you had to fake it because you already know. Yeah, especially since we're getting into the episodes that I've seen multiple times. Like the beginning, I sat through everything at least twice. But then we hit 210, and I've seen some of those episodes so much I've got all of the actors' movements memorized and didn't realize it. But some of the stuff I have to act like I don't know. One episode we get to, I'm gonna have to put a noise warning because I know I'm gonna scream. But we're not to that yet. But it's brewing up. It's coming up. Like some stuff I honestly forget, but some stuff I do know how it plays out, and I just have to act like, oh, what could that be? Who was that? What do they want? Why would they say that? Why is Liz worried about that? What happened 18 years ago? I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in town. So yeah, I guess it is like acting. Um, but Liz is wearing it's another like black. I think this one in real life it's probably like an actual like black versus the other dress that I like. But again, it's long sleeve, but the collar and down the front a little bit, it's lace, white lace, and also on the like the little ruffles on the sleeve there at the wrist and the collar. And then like it's got this again, it's got this lace and then it comes down and then there's like a really thin bow underneath that's the same color as the dress. You wouldn't notice it in there unless you're. Sorry, I was staring at her chest, but I was looking at the lace. I wasn't looking for that. Uh, but it's cute. I like it. Wearing her pearls. But she walks up to Jason and asks, "How long are you staying?" Jason says, "I don't know. If you're unkind, I would have to retaliate." Liz says, "Are you threatening me?" Jason kind of gets his voice a little bit loud here. He's like, "You were in trouble, and I helped you." So Liz like, let's go into the living room. Ah, like your voice carries it. Keep it down. Tuck in here. They go in the room. She's got to close the doors. She's always closing the doors behind them. She says, "Why did you come back? You said you wouldn't." Jason says, "I had to. I have a right. If I had a conscience, I would have gone to the cops." It says we're stuck with what happened 18 years ago, but that does not make us partners. So Jason mentions that he wants a little consideration. It says you had enough when you left. And now you want more money? Jason says, "All right, I admit it. I'm broke. Most of my things were stolen in Panama. I thought you'd call the local haberdashery to tell them to expect me to stop in and charge a few things." Just taking advantage. Prick. So over at the Evans cottage, Sam picks up the phone and he calls Roger. "Where are those paintings?" Roger's there on the phone in the foyer. He's like, "I haven't had time to look for them." Sam says, "Well, make the time, or I'll dox you." "I'm going straight to Burke." Hangs up. He's only got a week to get those paintings together, so I see why he's so pissed off. But now we're down in the basement, and Roger's down there with the flashlight, just looking around. Gets up to that locked room with the padlock. But he hears footsteps, so he hides behind some stuff. We can't see him. And then who's coming down the stairs? It's Jason. And he's looking around. He doesn't have a flashlight, but when he gets up to the locked door, he just strikes a few matches for some light to hold it up, see what he's looking at. Then there's Roger. What are you doing down here? Jason's, oh, I'm just curious about old padlocks. Roger's such a dick. So let's pretend I believe you. Why did you come back? Didn't you leave with Paul? Jason says, well, we left at the same time. Roger asks, when is the last time you saw him? Jason says, 18 years ago. Right here. Roger asks, what do you mean? Jason, oh, I saw him collect some personal things, and I haven't heard from him since. Don't you want him to come back? Roger, no, I don't like that he left Liz hanging. Jason mentions that he's heard that Liz has become a recluse for 18 years since the last time she saw Paul. Interesting coincidence. Dick. One of them's a prick and one of them's a charming prick. So in the living room, Liz, she's got her key that's on the chain. She's just looking at it in her hand and she stuffs it in her pocket. Roger comes in. He asks, have you seen some pictures that I got? This portraits that I got 10 years ago? I checked everywhere except for that locked room. May I borrow the key? Liz, I don't know where it is. They're not in there. Roger's like, well, what is? It must be important. Even Jason was down there. Liz, what? There's nothing in there, nothing! Okay, so Roger says he's going to get to the bottom of whatever is going on. So now we're at the Blue Whale. Sam's already there. Roger shows up. Sam looks at him like your arms are empty. Where are my paintings? Roger says, I don't know. I looked everywhere. Someone might have thrown them out. Sam says, who throws away paintings? Some of those took me months to finish. And I had to give them to you to make our transaction look legitimate. This is my chance for recognition. Just find them or I'm going to go to Burke. Roger says, well, there's one place they could be. And he takes off. He leaves. Sam is completely on edge. Again, totally understandable. So in the foyer, there's Liz. She has Jason go with her into the living room, closes the doors. Why were you in the basement? You were trying to open a lock. Jason says, well, I've had a big stake down there. I thought Roger was looking for the same thing, but he's clueless. Liz, right, because that door is going to stay locked. So now we're in the basement again, and Roger is down there with the flashlight. And he's got this tool in his hand. Just to my eye, it looks like a wide, flat metal chisel. Like the end of it's that big, and it's got a handle on it. But he's using it like a hammer. Padlock. It's loud too. It just metal on metal, banging on that. And then we see the basement for the credits. Roger, you don't know how to use tools, man. What the hell? Yeah, it's a good place to end it up. Oh man, I know what I gotta get into next time. The thing is, a character comes onto the show, and he's played by one actor, and then he's quickly replaced by another actor who's a better actor. and I'm just personally don't know how to play it because the first guy is just for whatever reason he's just not as good, and it's just not what how the character is played by the second guy, and I don't quite know how to approach it. Do I make him seem more like the second guy played him, or do I take the one character and play him the way the actors do? It's not like with Sam Evans, like the first guy who played Sam was basically like David Ford who plays him now. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. It's so not like that at all. I'll have it figured out. I guess from here I've got about 2 weeks to figure it out, but I'll get there. It's if I say it and put it out into the universe, the answer will just come to me. So that's why I had to say it out loud. But yeah, so we've got a new guy on the show. As much as I do like the actor, he's a good actor. He's fun to watch. But the fact that Jason is giving Liz a hard time means that I hate the guy. If you're giving Liz a hard time, you're pissing me off and you're on my bad side. So it's like great actor, pissed off about the character, but it's kind of the fun of it. You sort of love to hate him, and that's good when you have somebody who's like clearly not a good guy. He's just walking in like he owns the place and taking advantage of Liz's hospitality, and drinking the liquor, and getting free clothes and a place to stay. So I just dick. Are important plot points happen in basements? You got that right. Damn, that is so true. Some of my favorite stuff happens in a basement, in a mausoleum. Yeah. Don't want to get into spoilers. Those actors aren't. Well, one of those actors is not on the show yet. But we're getting close to. Next time we're going to have another actor joining the cast who's going to be in the cast. And that's 2 new characters on the show before we get to episode 210, and we're just into Dark Shadows proper, so I'm really excited for that. I still do want to do an extra balcony chat this week, or not this week, but this month. Maybe either the 20th or the 27th. I'm just not sure which one. Just because those are fun to do, something extra. Oh, I forgot it's Frank's birthday next month. He usually takes his birthday off, and that's on a Thursday. We can have a balcony chat then. We'll do something. But yeah, just because I like to get one extra balcony chat in with you guys every month on a Friday. Those are fun. But we'll just see how it goes. If it's not next week, it'll definitely be the last week of the month. And yeah, we're getting very close to episode 210, and what do I do when that guy joins the cast? But yeah, it's fun to do these. Again, I guess the hardest part is acting like I don't know what's going to happen with some characters, but um, it's really good. It's we finally got a bad guy who is. We know he's a bad guy from the beginning. Laura Collins joined. We didn't know what was up about her. This guy, Jason, seems to be a dick right from the start, so we know he's going to be a troublemaker. Dandy says, thanks, Nikki. A nice, comfortable place to be. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, totally chill. I hope you guys had a good time. I had a great time, too. You can watch Dark Shadows for free on Tubi right now. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. It's on Internet Archive as well. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. And I do have Super Chats opened up. I've got Venmo. I've got Buy Me a Coffee. Those go directly to myself. You're not supporting AI content. Your money stays in the United States. I'm not spending it on hookers and blow. And I read your comment at my next live show, so you get to be part of the show that way as well. Oh, John Rogers says, yeah, my birthday is the Monday after that. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. The first week of April, it's so many Franklies have birthdays. Like Sloan Bones' birthday is the first. And then we got Frank's birthday. We've got John's birthday. We've got quite a few people right there in that first week. But yeah, thank you guys for having a couple hours to spend with me talking about Dark Shadows. You can always watch for yourself, or you can hear about it from me first, spoiling everything, and then you can watch the actors do it in black and white. But you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Want to go to says good show. Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, thank you guys. Don't forget your pants. You're gonna need those all week next week. Tomorrow's the Ides of March. That's a holiday on Tumblr. Arden says thanks, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. So get something to eat, get some good sleep. Again, it is Pie Day. Call your pizza place up, see if they've got a special, or go to the website, see if they've got a pie deal going on. And yeah, smoke out on the balcony, take it easy, watch some Dark Shadows, if you play Minecraft, be careful with your lava. And I hope you guys had fun. I had fun seeing everybody. You guys make all of the bullshit worth it. One to go to says, till next time, tis well. Yeah, tis well. So I love you guys again. You guys let me do something I've always wanted to do. I get to tell you about my favorite TV show, so thanks for letting me do this and letting me get to see you guys every week. So you guys are awesome. And I love you again. Until next time.